Welcome, everybody, to the Slack on Flicks podcast. I'm 16 News Now producer Benjamin Slack. What is that up in the sky? It's a bird, a plane? No, it's Supergirl. She's flying to the sun, and she barely makes it because, let's be honest, her first solo outing in this new chapter of the new DCU is just okay, but it really misses its potential. The acting is good. I do like the characters. I thought they had a decent story deep within there, but as far as execution and especially the editing, it was a bit so-so. In fact, if you read my review at WNDU.com, I compared it to the MCU's Incredible Hulk film. While it does have some decent elements, its overall ranking as far as the DCU goes, especially in the future when we have 10, 20 projects in it down the road, it probably won't be so high on everybody's list. I ended up giving it a slacker scale C. But now, it's Supergirl. You know that me and my buddies have been waiting for this film all year round, so I'm not going to waste any time and bring in Spencer Beehler and Miles Deering back to the show. Guys, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back, man. Yes, sir. The crowd goes crazy.
And one boo. Okay. Wow, I didn't expect the moment of silence to pick up so early with just seconds in.
Tomato, boo.
There's no tomatoes. Miles, since you kind of gave us the best reaction and comeback to that little moment of silence that unintentionally happened, I want to ask you, what is your opinion on the Girl of Steel's first outing?
Okay, so the internet has been going crazy. So before I even saw the movie, the internet is going to try to have you make an opinion for me, and I simply rebuke that notion, you know what I'm saying, of letting somebody else judge the movie before I see it. But this is what I saw. I saw an amazing performance from the actress here playing Supergirl. I'm blanking on her name, but
Millie Alcock.
You got me. That's what you're here for, Ben. Turn me up. No, legit though, I genuinely enjoyed the fact that she gave us a dynamite performance. I love, before this movie even came out in previous episodes, I mentioned that superhero movies have a unique ability to work through grief. And so even though the narrative was not as strong as other hero movies that we've seen, we really got to feel her emotions in a deeper, I feel like incredibly rooted and grounded way, especially with her flashbacks. Like, if you think about Man of Steel, right? Which is, I know, completely different DC, completely different universe, but you definitely felt, you know what I'm saying, the anguish, the feelings of a parent, you know, some of the challenges that you get in that first opening act where they're sending Clark to Earth. And so in a similar way, but different, you get that in cutaways and flashbacks in this movie. And I just thought that made the movie more endearing when, you know what I'm saying, you could say that the narrative may not have been as strong.
Well said, well said. And before we go any further, I think we should recap the premise of this movie really quick. Again, this is the fourth chapter of the new DC Universe franchise following Creature Commandos, 2025 Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2. It picks up almost immediately after where Superman left off, where Kara is his cousin, and she ends up joining one of her friends throughout the galaxy to help find a cure for her dog Crypto after he gets poisoned by this rogue space pirate. It's an incredibly simple premise, but the execution is, again, it's a bit so-so. So Spencer, I want to ask you, what did you think of the execution and final product of the movie?
Well, I thought it was a really solid movie, first of all, but I got to admit, when I saw both of you send in your ratings of the movie, I was like, oh no, is it like not good? And then I looked up the critical and fan reactions to it and saw the average ones were like 6 out of 10, so I thought, okay, I'm just going to lower my standards and going for a fun action comedy. I think I lowered my standards so much that I literally absolutely loved it the first time, because I was going in expecting like nothing but just a stupid fun action movie. My initial reaction, I give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. I loved it.
8 or 9 out of 10? You loved it. Okay.
Yeah, but then I thought back on it, and then I read your review, and I agreed with everything you said in your review. So I was like, I still thought it was pretty solid. I'll give it like probably a 7.5 overall.
7.5 overall? Yeah. Okay. I think I'm sorry.
The action and the visuals I thought were perfect. Better than what Superman 2025 did. The story, the pacing, and the editing or what I thought it lacked in that Superman did better. Because in Superman, like, it was all right, but a lot of those fights, first of all, we didn't seem, in my opinion, we didn't really get a full-on brawl like we did in Man of Steel. And when it was during the fight scenes in Superman, it felt very video gamey, no graphics. In Supergirl, we got full-on fistfight brawls. Mm-hmm. A lot of them were all in like one-shot takes. Obviously, it's CGI, but still, the fact that they made it look that good, and it was the action like 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. Honestly,
I agree.
The action was really well done.
agree.
It's something far better than Superman. So if they would bring the best and worst aspects of that together, I think we could get like a perfect super film. But yeah, solid movie. Just obviously it got some flaws with it, especially if like Lobo. But we can get into that. Hopefully, if we get into our not spoiler segment. Hopefully,
Non-spoiler section. Okay.
Well, one thing I will say though, Ben, before we take us to the next topic, I really like the fact that even though the story wasn't as strong, we explored the nuances of Supergirl through the young lady who, you know what I'm saying, kind of became the catalyst for the whole movie. Yes, she's going to find a cure for crypto, but it is incredible that like we get to see the paralleling dichotomy of Supergirl through her being challenged by, you know, the secondary character, which I loved.
Yeah, I think that was one of the issues I had with the film, where at times Supergirl felt like she was more of a supporting character in her own film. And yeah, the character Ruthie was way more of a protagonist, because I mean, it's Ruthie that sets Supergirl up on this mission. Mm-hmm. It's Ruthie who changes Supergirl's point of view of things. Mm-hmm. It's telling her origin to Ruthie that we get the Krypton flashbacks. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe because I liked James Gunn's Superman so much, maybe my expectations for this movie were a little bit too high, so it could be my own fault that I didn't enjoy it that much overall. But, I mean, again, it's not a bad movie, not at all. It's a decent popcorn entertainment superhero film, and I'm actually just glad overall that Supergirl finally got the mainstream audience that she rightfully deserves, because she is such a great character in the comics. And as far as the comic book translation to screen, yeah, there were some changes in there from the Woman of Tomorrow comic, which this is based off of. But aside from that, I thought it was actually okay. And, you know, maybe it won't be one that I willingly pop on the TV to watch in spare time. But if it's on TV, like on live cable or something like that, if that still exists down the road, I'll definitely give it a watch.
I think it's got that feel of like, it's going to be better in a rewatch than it is in first watch.
Maybe.
Like, I think once we get the whole universe and we get more of it, and we get to the point where we get to do a DC rewatch, we'll be like, dang, that movie wasn't as bad as I thought it was when I first saw it. You know, I think this movie may have that effect, you know?
Okay.
Millie Alcock was good. That woman can act.
She was very good.
From House of the Dragon now to this, I mean, come on. She's good.
And that brings us to one of my favorite moments, probably my favorite moment of the whole movie. I think her chemistry with David Cornsweet's Superman was just perfect. We got a tease of it at the end of Superman, and we got to see a little bit more of it here. It's one of the reasons I'm really excited for Man of Tomorrow. I think their chemistry is just great. While they might not necessarily look related, you can tell that they share the same bloodline, and they're more like those cousins that butt head most of the time, but deep down they love each other, and I thought it was great. When we get to see her first arrive on Earth and he first meets her, I'm not gonna lie, I was chuckling like the entire time, because I love Cornsweet's portrayal of Superman, where he's a bit of a geek, he's a little bit of a nerd, but yet he's so friendly, so approachable. And then just the meta joke where she asks, like, you know, why is he in his underwear? That was great, I thought. And he's like talking all loud and everything, like, okay, you know, I don't speak Kryptonian. I was never raised there. Why am I talking louder? Here, let me get that for you. You can't understand a word I'm saying, can you?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
I love that they acknowledged the underwear thing, dude. That's been
that was great
the whole time. That was like a good, in a way, fourth wall break for the audience right there. My whole theater laughed at that too.
Yeah, so did mine.
No, I definitely got a good laugh when that happened on screen for sure.
100%. And I liked the very ending of the film too. Spoiler alert if you have not seen the ending. Supergirl comes back to Earth and she decides that she's going to stay with Clark for a little bit, her and Crypto, which sets up her role for Man of Tomorrow. And then his reaction when he finds out the dog is going to be staying too is just funny as well, because his chemistry with the dog in Superman was great too.
Speaking of spoilers, can we please get into the spoiler segment? Because there's some stuff I want to say.
Well, we're about 10 minutes in, so I think we can. Spencer, what do you want to say?
So, and when we previously talked about Supergirl, remember I said one thing, not to sound, she doesn't now have the same no-kill rule that Superman does, right?
No, I do not remember that. I'm kidding, I do.
Don't be a troll.
Anyway, so in the comic that this is based on, like, she supposedly kills Krim at the end, but it's apparently revealed at the very end of that comic that I think she put him in the Phantom Zone or something. She imprisoned him. Mm-hmm. At the end of this movie, Ruthie's about to kill him, but Supergirl stops her because she doesn't want her to go down the same path that she did. It's made very clear that Krem is not going to stop as long as he is alive. So I really like that Supergirl took it into herself to actually, she kills him at the end. And I like that because if she didn't, then he wouldn't have stopped. So I thought I agreed with her call right there. And the way she did it, literally.
Laser eyed him. Oh, no, she stabbed him.
She stabbed him in the chest, and then she pulls out and, like, this is for my dog, stabbed him right through his throat. First of all, I was shocked they did that in a PG-13 rating. But, you know, like, different color blood or barely any blood. But the fact that I like that. That shows, like, she doesn't want to cross that line, but she will if she has to for, like, the betterment of a better tomorrow to save more lives.
Well, again, what I said, I mean, this dates back to the whole thing where Superman and Supergirl are so different. Yeah, they're both super cousins from Krypton, but Supergirl is a lot more like Batman in a way as far as saving the day goes, where Superman does everything by the books, you know, everything in the truth, justice, and American way. Supergirl is going to bend the rules and do whatever it takes to get justice, even if that means interrogating people with her laser eyes and flat out killing villains at the end so that they don't do any harm. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it, and you don't expect that the first time you pick up a Supergirl comic, because you look at like a cover, as long as she's not caked in blood on the cover, which actually does happen. But you look at Supergirl and you're like, oh, it's the sweet little cousin of Superman. And then you open up the panel just to see her just cut a hole in somebody. It's crazy.
Or literally rip someone in half, which has...
I thought we were going to get the swallow from Miles.
He started halfway and stopped it, so when I killed it.
Because I refuse to entertain you, man. I refuse.
That's got to happen at some point. Every time you come on, we got to hear it at least once.
Your face is scrunched up and I refuse to hold it in halfway.
But needless to say, you get what I'm saying.
Lobo. I agree. I agree with what you said, Ben. So let me just say, I will admit, I, with a living passion, hate and despise the character of Lobo because, listen, I get the fan base out there, but to me, the man killed his whole race just to, like, for fun, and then all he cares about is women and money. I don't get why that's such a fan favorite character. Now, that being said, somehow this movie actually got me to like him. That being said, this could have been the exact same movie without the character. As much as I enjoyed Jason Momoa, I thought he nailed him. I thought he was more serious than usual, but he was a BA in this movie. But yeah, I have so many mixed... I hate the character in the comics and in the animated series, but I actually have a soft spot for him in this movie.
Miles, what's your take on Lobo in this film?
You hit on, like, his motives. Like, he's, like, basically just a character that has simple motivations and stuff, and then he's incredibly powerful to be able to take out the whole race, you know, the whole planet. But to me, I felt like he fit perfectly into what the movie needed. Like, you needed a secondary character that could also fight, you know what I'm saying, that is there, but also could serve as comedic relief. Like, you got to think, we were dealing with a lot of grief with the two characters with Supergirl, and then was it Ruthie? I think
Ruthie.
Exactly. Like, they were both of them dealing with tremendous grief. So you introduce a Lobo who's there, like, this is the scene where I was like, yeah, I love this guy. When he's sitting in the prison, knowing dang well he can take out his whole planet. But that prison ain't holding him. Like,
touche.
Like, he was there for, you know what I'm saying, like, just there to be there. So I liked him. I liked that he was funny. I liked that when he came in, he first thing I think he does is get his bike during the fight scene.
Yeah, because they steal his bike. Yeah,
exactly. And then he's just rolling out. Like, I'm okay with a fun character for fun character's sake. Like, I don't think every character needs to have a rooted motivation, a rooted purpose, and something to build on. So if he's like a one-off, or he's the guy that does cameos or returns for laughs, then, like, I think he serves a purpose in what the universe is building, and I thought he served a purpose in the movie.
Well, I think he's clearly a character. Number one, I think I should say that, yeah, you definitely can take him out of the film, and the film would play out the exact same way. You really didn't need him, but he did still come off as very likable, and I think that's mainly because he's played by Jason Momoa, and Jason Momoa is just such a likable actor. But yeah, I really did like him. He didn't really have much of an arc. He was really just there for laughs' sake. But, you know, still did the job. It's never a bore with him. And honestly, I would say that he's the perfect character to spin off, like in a TV series like they did with Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad. I think he has the perfect potential to lead his own series. Do like a different bounty hunt of the week or something like that. I think that would be great.
If you do that and somehow get me to watch a movie or series about Lobo, I will commend you, because...
and you will be back on this podcast.
Yes, I will gladly be back on this podcast, but not for the reason you want me to be back on this podcast to talk about a Lobo spinoff movie or series. Now, that I think if the Supergirl script it needed a revision to make Lobo more essential to the story, as well as, again, as you said, to make the story pacing better. And not to sidetrack, but flashing back between like the Krypton scenes and like the present day scenes, I was kind of expecting the movie to open up with the destruction of Krypton.
That's what I was thinking, yeah. And I think it would have made it so much more effective. Yeah, we've seen Krypton blow up time and time again in the opening of movies, but number one, this is a movie called Supergirl, so there's something different right there. But again, it's a brand new continuity, and I think it just would have worked so much better. It would have made us so much more deeply rooted to these characters, particularly Crypto. Yeah, he was in Superman the whole time, but we didn't know his whole connection with Supergirl. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to challenge that thought, though. If we go back to the Superman movie, right? Him learning about his parents was a catalyst in terms of a storytelling device. It was one of those catalysts that pushed him to become Superman, to become the figure that the Earth can look towards. But he got that from his parents, and so I think it was kind of poetic in a way that she also was finding herself through flashbacks of her parents as a storytelling device. Now, we could talk about, like you said, sharpening up the story itself or sharpening up how the plot operates. I have no issue with we getting first introduced to her as a drunk, strung out on a distant planet, drinking away her birthday. And then as she's becoming Supergirl, as she's becoming herself, we're following the mission and the whole purpose. She's rediscovering herself, and we're discovering her through flashbacks. That's the only reason where I'm like, I do like the idea, because Man of Steel, when they did it, it was epic. You know what I mean? Like, I think I see how the storytellers were like, no, we're going to pace this thing out, and it's going to be a steady growth of us learning who this character is.
I hear that argument. And sorry, Ben, before I forget, watching the little snippet of the climactic fight in the trailer right here just reminded me. Mm-hmm. In the trailer, that climactic fight, you all know what I'm talking about. It had serious music, slow motions, like this epic climactic Lord of the Rings style battle,
Agreed.
right? In the movie, the music was not serious at all. And that
It was awesome.
When it started, that music completely threw me off. I was like, okay, if I don't accept this music for what it is for this fight right now, I'm gonna hate this scene.
It was almost like a Peacemaker fight in a way.
Yeah, and I didn't like that.
It had a sort of Guardians of the Galaxy feel.
Oh,
to it.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, we're kicking
as far as the color scheme goes, and even right down to some of the visual shots. Yes,
that's how you know this is produced by James Gunn. But listen, Supergirl isn't Guardians of the Galaxy. Supergirl. Here's my gripe with it. They could have, if they simply changed the music to a more serious, like thrilling music. That for me, that would have been showcasing how powerful this woman truly is, and like how far she's willing to go to protect the innocent. And then you get the slow-mo shots from like Ruthie's point of view, and you see her just absolutely murking all these enemies. That would have like given me goosebumps.
That brings up one of my favorite moments of the movie, and we do see it in the trailers. I liked the bar fight that they had, and Supergirl like throws Ruthie like behind a wall or something, and this little table's like covering the other side of her, and you see the whole fight from Ruthie's point of view. You just hear it, and then when Ruthie looks over like to see what's going down, all these guys are just scattered all throughout the bar. And there's Kara like finishing like a shot or something like that. It's like something almost right out of a Western in a way.
Yeah,
exactly.
I really liked that.
By a Western, but I don't want to lose the point. I feel like that moment that you're looking for, the climactic music, the this battle is serious moment, we're gonna get that in Superman. That moment was not for this movie, because if the moment was for this movie, they would have given us a villain that would have been worth that level of intensity. But there was not a point in that climax that you thought, oh my God, Supergirl is at risk. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
when she got shot by the kryptonite.
Okay, and then but Lobo was in the cut. Like, come on, like
she was about to get decapitated, and would have if he wasn't right there. That she was in that state right there. Her life was at risk right there.
Debate.
At risk, sure, but no, she wasn't going. You knew she wasn't going to lose the battle. You knew she was not going to lose
part
that
of these
battle.
comic book movies. That's where
we just going to have to agree to disagree on that one. I'm just like, man, I don't
agree to disagree right here.
Yeah.
Keep going. Just keep going. This is cracking me up.
No, man, next topic. I refuse. No,
I refuse. I'm sure there's a lot of fans that agree with me on this part about. Again, this isn't Superman. This is Supergirl. Okay, she's got lines that she's willing to cross. And
but this is where I want to challenge you. Don't you think it would be even cooler okay, you're gonna go double boxes on me. All right, listen.
Okay.
Don't you think it would be even cooler to have Supergirl really exploring the depths of her darkness, contrasted with the light of a Superman in a movie? Like, don't you think it would be even more powerful to have that intense fighting scene where she's on the brink of killing somebody and that she has to be held back by Clark, or vice versa?
That would have been awesome.
Where Clark's on the brink of, going all the way dark, and then, or Clark's being too light and there's a villain that only Clark can handle. I think that dichotomy in itself is what we're waiting on to get said fight scene. Go ahead, Spence. I'm listening.
That would have been good as a scene like that, instead of just having the fun kiddie pool music while she's murking people left and
You also
right.
got to remember, though, Spencer, that she is younger than Superman. She's still basically a teenager. So this is like probably the music or something that's going on in her head as she is doing this. So
that's a question from Millie Alcock and the director themselves.
Any movie with Lobo in it don't need that serious of music.
Fair point. I'm siding with Miles on this one, dude.
Well, you know how I feel about the character Lobo anyway, so we'll just leave it at that.
So we will leave it at that.
We all agree.
We will leave it at that because I'd actually like to talk about the next entry that is going to come from the DCU. This August, the next entry in the franchise is Lanterns. Are you guys looking forward to that series?
Mostly.
Mostly?
So if we talk about the trailer itself, watching the trailer, it gives me that feel of this is going to be epic. But I mean, with the exception of the animated Justice League show, I haven't seen a Lantern character, just my own exposure. That
you mean Ryan Reynolds isn't your favorite?
Okay, can I say something?
Go ahead, because he blew me right there. That's crazy. What?
So, I had my opinion when I was 11, first of all, but watching it, I've watched it again over the years. Here's my opinion. Green Lantern is a guilty pleasure for me. And here's the thing. Had he been given...
so is PLO for me. Yeah. Go ahead.
Had they been given an actually good script, and the director, if you look at the director's previous work, he's actually a really good director. Had they been given a good script and the director found a proper balance, I think the cast, I thought, could have been perfect had they been given a better script. Just a better script alone. I think the movie could have been amazing. I don't think Ryan Reynolds or anyone else is a problem. That's my... Yeah. That could have been the true start of the DCEU had.
Interesting. Wow.
If you look at Ryan Reynolds, the man can act. He can't act.
Oh, yes, he can act.
If he's given the right script and a good director to work with, and they both are on the same page, it's amazing what they can produce together. That's why I'm not a big... Obviously, I think the movie is horrible, but it's a guilty pleasure because I'm like, man, there was so much potential right here. Like, if they would have just had a good script alone, that could have saved this whole movie. And it could have been like... a much different takeoff for the DC franchise, and they could have outdone Marvel.
All right, you know what? I'll let you have that one because I've had a few guilty pleasures as well in my lineup. But Lanterns.
Wolverine.
What?
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No, not that bad. But Lanterns is the next entry in the DC universe. Is going to follow both Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart as they investigate what appears to be some type of extraterrestrial event happening in a small town down south. James Gunn has confirmed that this series is taking place chronologically. It's going to be the first entry in the DCU because it takes place around 2016 or 2019. And he said this series actually is the first to set up the huge overarching plot that will expand all throughout the franchise. Kind of like how Thanos was with Marvel, where he was teased from time and time again. We knew he was going to be the ultimate bad guy. It's the same thing here with Lanterns. We're going to get a little bit of a hint of that huge overarching storyline. It all begins here.
Is this a new trailer that you recorded? When did this trailer release?
This trailer released maybe about a month ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm geeking right now.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this trailer, so that's why you see me like squinting in on it because I'm like, I don't think I saw this. I have not seen this. Wow, I'm behind, and our entertainment guy here.
Well, I will let you enjoy it, and I will ask Miles the next question.
Wow.
Okay.
Of course, this stars Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart. Miles, what do you think of the casting for these two iconic characters from
Why
comic
you take
book
the
history?
words out of my mouth? Because I'm looking at Chandler and I'm sitting there like, first off, Friday Night Lights is an all-time favorite show.
I really
mine.
like Kyle Chandler.
As a football player who grew up loving high school football. looking at the performance of just being able to, like, he had to deal with so much in that show. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be, teenage angst, drama, father, leadership, like all of it. And so I don't necessarily know where they're going to take these two characters. But if there's any semblance of mentor, you know what I'm saying, mentor younger, you know what I'm saying, younger Lantern in this, he is going to knock it out of the park because he has that fatherly, that, you know what I'm saying, that aura of like, man, like, I don't want to disappoint you. And so I think that's going to be great. Now
he is. Kyle Chandler's always been typecast like in like authority or like father figure type roles. Of course, he was like he was a father in the MonsterVerse with Godzilla and King Kong, of course. He played the FBI agent in The Wolf of Wall Street, which he was fantastic as.
Yeah,
I think you just tried to bribe a federal officer.
Exactly right. He's good. Like, he's good at it. He's really good at it.
I think you did.
And now we're kind of getting like what appears to be this investigative, figuring out this intergalactic threat. Like, yes, like
James Gunn has said it's like an intergalactic threat set in a small U.S. town starring 2 Green Lanterns.
Oh my God,
who are basically the police force of the galaxy.
They're gonna knock it out the park.
Spencer, are you excited?
Mostly, yes.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not a hater. I'm still gonna watch it. I am 60 to 75% out of 100 excited for it.
Okay.
The thing that threw me off when I first saw the first trailer, Hal Jordan dropping like 5 F-bombs.
Well, it's on HBO Max, so
I know,
they can get away with it.
Everything Green Lantern has always been, with the exception of the yellow core and the red core, you know what I'm talking about if you're a comic book nerd. With the exception of those Lantern cores, it's always been pretty kid-friendly and fun, family-friendly, because it's it's the Lanterns. They're like, they construct stuff out of their certain powers. With the exception of Sinestro and Atrocitus. Because, so when they started dropping swears like that and like showing some very adult stuff, I was like, okay, so we're going full on like True Detective style here. That threw me off. Now, that being said, I know Sinestro is in this show. I am so excited to see Sinestro.
So is Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner, of course, is returning.
Yeah. Anyway.
Was that you that whispered?
What?
Was that you that whispered, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was going crazy for a second.
Oh, I should have said no then. Anyway, their rivalry is already going to be established. I am so excited for that. Reportedly, I heard that Atrocitus is already cast and reportedly going to appear in this. If we get Atrocitus, the leader of the Red Lantern Corps, especially knowing his backstory, I will love that. The only thing is, spoiler ahead in case you don't know this. Do you two care?
No.
Reportedly, Hal Jordan is supposed to die at the end of this.
I could see that because
I am not okay with that.
I'm not okay with it either. I really like Hal Jordan. I love Kyle Chandler. But if you look at the cast for Man of Tomorrow, which is the Superman sequel, I'm already saying this. I say that Man of Tomorrow, which is coming out next year, is going to be the equivalent of... There it is. The equivalent of the first Avengers movie that was with the MCU. Yeah, it's a Superman solo movie in a way, but if you look up the cast, it is really incredible how many characters are going to be sharing the screen. Of course, we got Superman. Millie Alcock is returning as Supergirl. Aaron Pierre is returning as John Stewart, Green Lantern. Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, is coming back. Hawkgirl is coming back. Frank Grillo is returning as Rick Flag Sr. from Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2. It really is going to be a bit of a culmination of the storytelling in the DCU so far. I'm calling it. Man of Tomorrow is the equivalent to the first Avengers. I'm calling it right now.
The DCU really did do it differently than the MCU.
Very different.
Like, Marvel did it like 5 movies within like 2 years, and then Avengers. DCU, two movies.
3 TV shows.
Yeah, I really consider Lanterns to be like.
Oh, wait, 3 movies because Clayface.
I completely forgot about
Clayface is coming out this October.
But will that be necessary for Man of Tomorrow?
I don't think so. Ultimately, I would say Clayface is maybe going to join the Creature Commandos down the road.
Well, he already was.
Yeah, but he wasn't officially part of the team.
No, I don't. The Rick Flag was. That's another conversation, but don't know how I survived that still. But anyway, yeah.
All right, so we are talking about the DCU. I want to talk briefly about the projects that have come out so far. Creature Commandos officially kicked it off on HBO Max. Spencer Miles, what was your opinion on that animated series?
Well, in truth, I haven't seen it yet, so
Okay.
I haven't dove into that that realm yet.
We don't judge here.
So should I?
Yeah, go ahead, take it, Spencer.
I thought it was a fine show.
Okay.
Can I talk spoilers?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's been out for a year, so yeah, I think
Okay.
you're okay.
With the fish girl, was she called Luna?
Lena, I think it was.
But yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, the fish girl?
Yeah, like the creature from the Black Lagoon girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was so innocent and everything. I hated that she died at the end. That was like...
Most of the characters died in the end.
Yeah, but she was like the one innocent character, the whole, like, and, okay, also the Weasel. This is just me. I was convinced that James Gunn just hates human beings during the Weasel's origins because, listen, when you see an animal non-lethally holding a child in its mouth and he's running away from the fire of a burning building, and you take your gun at the Weasel's face, seeing a child in his jaw and start shooting him in the face, knowing that your bullet can hit a child, and then he drops it, and then you go past the child you go to the Weasel, the child's sitting right next to him, and then you pull the Weasel out, leaving the child there to burn to death, and then you blame the Weasel. I'm like, okay, first of all, there's no way you didn't see the child in its mouth, and then there's no way you just see the child and willingly leave it there and acting like you didn't see it. Like, that was unrealistic to me, even for comic book standards. And I'm like, James, do you really just hate human beings that much? That was my first biggest gripe. And then I know it was a creative decision, but come on, Luna or whatever her name is, like, she was like the one innocent person, and that just infuriated me. Her dad died trying just to be a good father. That just infuriated me.
Yeah, it was. They really got you attached to these misfit type characters, only to off most of them in the end. But it really did establish its job by establishing what the DCU was like. We jumped into a world that was very much already built, had heroes in there, and we slowly, in a way, got introduced to them, and we saw what this world was going to be like. And we also, in a way, got our first look at Batman, because Batman appears in Shadow in the Dr. Phosphorate episode. We're seeing Gotham quite a bit. We got a whole Gotham-centric episode in Creature Commandos, Clayface taking place in Gotham City, and we haven't even met Batman yet.
We're getting a slow build-up to the DCU Batman. Can I just say that? And
who's your dream cast for Batman?
I don't have one yet.
Who would you cast?
Who
would you cast as Batman?
What's my man that plays Punisher?
But no,
John Bernthal?
Hang on.
Go ahead, get it out, Spence.
I think he would make an amazing Batman, but he's going to be 50.
So was Bruce Wayne.
What type of Batman are we getting? Are we getting young Batman?
Honestly, we don't know. He's shrouded in mystery right now. His first movie in the DCU is going to be The Brave and the Bold. Release date unclear as of this time. But he's already on Damian Wayne Robin, who is the fifth Robin. Dick Grayson has already become Nightwing, apparently, and Jason Todd has already become Red Hood. So
wouldn't that put him around 45, 50?
Something like that. I'm thinking 40 or something like that.
If Damian's in his mid-teens, and if he had Damian when he was 18, then he could be in his mid-30s.
So he could still be a younger Batman.
He could be 35, 40.
If he's a teen, about 40.
Because I would like to see a younger Batman with an established Bat family. Because James Gunn has confirmed that the Bat family is very much already a thing.
Oh, the Brave and we better see the Gotham Knights. If you're going to have half the Bat family already established, we better see Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin, Oracle, all of them. I want to see. Give me even.
You already want Barbara Gordon to be Oracle. You don't want to see her as Batgirl first, unless they adapt the Killing Joke in live action. Can you imagine if they did that?
Do you really want that?
Honestly, I'd like to know Barbara a little bit more before the tragedy happens.
You can know her you can just you can see crime scene photos because the Joker literally did that in the comic and in the animated movie.
Very true.
But also you can get your Batgirl from Orphan or who is it, Stephanie whoever
Stephanie Brown.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, but she might be spoiler though.
That's even better. The point is,
that would be awesome. A live action spoiler. That
there's
would be cool.
4 other female characters that can easily be Batgirl. But yeah, they better have that established. And also in that little silhouette of Batman we got in Creature Commandos, this dude is gigantic.
He is big,
ripped,
yeah.
hulking monster. And I would also like a no name to be Batman.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I could see why somebody would want that. But also, just because he was a big Hulk of a monster Batman in animation doesn't mean that's necessarily what he's going to look like in live action.
That's the problem.
Case in point, look at Rick Flag Sr. In Creature Commandos, he had a full white beard and white hair, but then when we see him again in Superman and Peacemaker Season 2, he's Frank Grillo with his regular, somewhat whited hair.
Here's the off-camera explanation. He simply dyed his hair. Here's the off-camera explanation. He simply dyed his hair.
Okay, well, maybe Batman went on a diet and lost a little bit of weight. Miles, so...
No,
But no, the DCU, let's just say that we are in good hands. Creature Commandos was good. All of you guys liked Superman.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I loved it.
no.
I had a few major problems with it, but I loved it mostly.
We're going to skip over those problems and stay positive. Peacemaker Season 2. Did you guys watch that?
Yes.
I'm behind on the DC, man.
Miles.
You're a bigger nerd than I am.
Yes, I know. It's so funny because I was trying to sidebar. I got a Superman comic in my backpack right now.
You got hooked up on the Clone Wars.
Yes, I did. I did take a detour to Star Wars World.
Honestly, that's justified. The Clone Wars is peak. That's justified.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying though. Clone Wars.
No,
is
he's got a
epic,
fair
but
argument. He's got a fair argument.
That's what the summer is for.
Of course, we just gave our opinions on Supergirl. Next up is Lanterns. We are excited for that. And then we got Clayface. A bit of a strange entry this early in the franchise, but I'm still welcome to it. And then, of course, we got Man of Tomorrow. So we are in good hands with DC. Let's shift things over briefly over to animation and talk a little bit about a movie called Toy Story 5.
Oh, I got a lot to say about this.
Dived back into our childhoods, but also developed a story that was more fitting for this generation. It was toys versus tech. Woody was no longer the star of the movie. In fact, Jessie was more of the star. But Buzz and Woody still get some good laughs in there and share the screen time together. Ultimately, I thought it was better than the fourth film, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was. Spencer, what's your take?
I personally really liked it. There were so many adult jokes and humor in it, and I, as an adult now at 26, obviously I didn't catch them when I was like 10 when Toy Story 3 came out. The way they were spread out through the movie and done, I thought it worked well for the story, and I thought they were hilarious. It even got a few chuckles out of me. That's hard for an animated movie to do. In the theater, the audience I was in, it was fun hearing their little chuckles too. Especially, when can we talk spoilers, Ben?
You can talk it right now.
The scene where Jessie says yes to Buzz's proposal, and then she kisses him on the lips, and then for 2 seconds it kisses to his foot, and this perks up, and even does like the little sound.
The pop.
I was like, there's 2 jokes right there. And
Clearly referencing Princess Diaries.
And then I think we all know what the other joke is if you're an adult.
Yes, we know.
But my whole
It's kind of like Buzz's wings jumping out in Toy Story 2 at the end.
I don't remember that scene, but you all know what I'm talking about.
I'll send it to you.
That was, man, that got me. There were several, and then when the potty trainer toy was talking, he was like, I can only, after the little girl came out of that, he was like, she did it without me. Whichever way you take that, my whole theater cracked up at that, and I got no chuckle out of that. It's a good movie for what it was, and judging by Miles, I had no idea. Everyone. Miles said he's going to destroy this movie when we go to him. So do you want to keep hearing me talk, or do you want to listen to him rip this movie apart?
Miles, the Toy Story room is yours. Oh, boy.
Put the camera fully in him right now.
Sir, yes, sir.
I'm gonna start this with the story.
Let's go.
I want to paint the scene.
Oh, no.
8-year-old Miles, who enjoys going to the movies so much so that is his getaway, on a Friday night with a mother working 3 jobs. Hey, son, we're going to the movies. What do you want to see? Mama, we got to go see Toy Story 3. And then we do, popcorn in hand, Raisinets in hand, slushy, high off of sugar. And then something unpredictable happens. There's a heartbeat. There is sadness. There is devastation. There is, for the first time in a universe that's been around since the 90s, you really feel like the characters that you grew up with, that you have toys with, that you grew up playing with, are going to lose. That they're going to be lost. They're going to be lost in this universe. Of course, the movie ends, things are resolved, but I was never the same, and neither was the universe, because how in the Lord's name do we get to a Toy Story 5? We don't need it. We don't need it. They ended on a perfect, a perfect bow with Woody and Buzz finally starting to make some headway to see eye to eye. We get a perfect wrap of the storyline. Andy is going on his own. We have officially, all right, come to peace. So this is a long-winded way of saying I'm protesting and I'm not going to see this movie. I'm not going to do it because I believe Just like elders before me say the oldest Star Wars trilogy was a perfect movie, I believe Toy Story is a trilogy, and that's my story, and I am sticking to it.
100% Miles, I totally agree with you. I really did not like Toy Story 4. I did not see it for the longest time. I thought 3 was the perfect, and you got a perfect trilogy there, of course, 2 being my favorite. That's a debate for another time. But yes, absolutely great. Probably, maybe not top 10, but top 15 of as far as trilogies goes. But again, I don't think 5 was that bad. It really felt more like an epilogue to the story, 4 as well. But they took everything that was wrong with 4 and not necessarily corrected it here, but they made it different and something more enjoyable than I think anybody was ever expecting.
I'm going to say something right now that's going to tick off both of you.
I'm ears.
You always do that anyway, so what's the surprise?
It's not always intentional, but I kind of loved Toy Story 4. Thought it was an amazing film, and it made me cry at the end.
Okay, that I get, because say what you want about Toy Story 4. The final scene where Woody and Buzz say goodbye to each other, I really liked that. I really liked that.
That's like when I said goodbye to my friends from high school, or said bye to my friends from college. Like after COVID happened, and then it gave me some flashbacks.
And then when they like hug each other, and you kind of think back to like what they've been through ever since the first film, from going from like bitter enemies to somewhat rivals to best friends. Yeah, it really does leave a reflection on you.
I actually tied Toy Story 3 and 4 with each other over 2.
Oh, you're so not serious.
Come on, man. You're just getting me mad.
You're not serious.
You only said that because 2 was my favorite, which I rewatched the other day, actually.
No, it's always been my least favorite, even before I met you.
Oh, my friend. 2 is, it's probably my own personal bias because I watched 2 more than any of them growing up. But
keep in mind,
still,
I think 2 is an amazing film. I just think it's the least best.
It just makes me laugh so much. I love the side quest with the toys trying to find Woody after he's kidnapped by Newman. And
what you mean, Zurg doing the Vader note ripoff before it was even a thing?
Yeah, I liked that. I liked the opening of Toy Story 2 should have been the Lightyear movie that came out a few years ago. It was, I don't know. I really liked it.
Low key, I'd never thought about that.
Thought about what? Using
the Lightyear movie as an opening?
Yeah.
Like an unofficial
The opening of Toy Story 2 should have been the Lightyear movie that we got a few years ago.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Exactly.
If they had gotten Tim Allen to do Lightyear instead of nothing against Chris Evans, but what were they thinking when they didn't use Tim Allen?
That's a whole discussion for another time.
Yeah, Miles brought it up anyway.
Rant. I will rant.
I thought Toy Story 5 was an amazing film. I had some problems with it, but hey, the adult jokes and the adult humor, I thought personally was great.
All right, well, we'll keep it on the positivity note. We are going to wrap this up pretty soon because we are about to break the record for the longest episode here as of recording so far. As far as recording goes, I don't think anything is going to beat that Conjuring episode with Natasha Cassell that I did last year, because that was wow. I'm still speechless with that. But Miles, last week, Spencer and I brought on Grace Phillips, our fellow producer here, to talk about Disclosure Day. Unfortunately, no, not unfortunately, you were enjoying yourself in Arizona, having a great time down there. But before we wrap up this episode, I think it was the best film of 2026 so far. The theming, the acting, the visuals, the music, it was an absolute A+. I loved it. It was better than Supergirl. I'm wondering if it's going to be better than The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day, which come out this month. But Miles, I want to ask you, what is your opinion on Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day?
I'm going to challenge you first. I thought the drama was the best movie of the year, personally. So far, out of watches, because I've seen Obsession, we've seen Backrooms, we've seen Disclosure. We've seen a lot of movies. That's just one. But on the topic of this movie, I felt like it was Spielberg in his bag. I felt like this was peak, even just how it was shot. I thought this was beautifully lit. I thought it was incredibly intentional on how it was lit. And then it took me back to, this is nowhere near his most popular movie, but I remember the feeling of Super 8. Now, if you ask me the plot of Super 8, I would be like, I don't necessarily remember every detail about the plot, but I do remember that feeling of, what are these butterflies I'm feeling? Why am I subtly anxious? I think I texted you guys after I left the theater and said,
"This is before me."
Somehow they managed to mix anxiety, whimsy with the sci-fi suspense. with that, it has a feeling. And then on top of it, like Spielberg is known to have these messages inside of these alien movies that reflect on his life. I haven't dove into the deep part of the internet to figure out, all right, what is Spielberg really trying to say? I just know that I felt like he had a positive message about humanity, and that he used aliens as a way to like connect us all. And like that was one of those ways where I was like, even though you got the Area 51, you have the Roswell, your
E.T.
Aliens fan, Paradise. I do think that he took a twist, and say, now let's look at humanity as a whole. And I thought that was a kind of a, like, we see it in all types of end of the world types movies, but I thought that was powerful. And then I also was geeking so hard that can we spoil? We got spoilers here?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
I thought it was so clever to have the character that could see the future and have like these psychic premonitions to be a weather girl. Like, I just thought that was
pretty cool.
That was just, it was topical, it was fun. But then when she transitions and has her moment in the light as the news anchor, and then contextualizing the fact that what news does, me being biased as a news guy, but like I do think that was a perfect like a bow, that just made me happy. So I loved it.
And you talked about Spielberg's like talking about humanity on that. I think that was the best part of the movie, because it really makes you question. I think the message in this film is that, let's be honest, nowadays here in 2026, humanity is in a bit of an unstable crisis right now. We are so divided as far as our beliefs, our religion, our politics, and even race sometimes, unfortunately. Well, what's going to happen in this world if we throw aliens into the mix? It's like adding a whole new species and race with humanity. We're already kind of, maybe you can even say, falling apart as much as it is. What's going to happen when you confirm this huge conspiracy theory? And I thought they handled it so well. I thought Colin Firth's villain in there was just amazing. I really liked where they took his character at the end, and it was just A+ material, just nailing everything. The message, the acting, the visuals. It really was, as Spielberg even said it in an interview, it really was the successors to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He lived up to that, and it was true.
Miles, what did you think from as someone who worked in news media, what do you think from the news media?
Oh my God, when they go into the control room and they're like, you need to call New York now. We're literally about to go to war with North Korea. We're literally about to go to war. What do you mean? Call New York. They're going to want, what could be bigger? Literally, what could, right here, this shot right there, that shot right there, what could be bigger than potential nuclear fallout? I don't know. Aliens, and we have proof. And like just the adrenaline of having to download all the files, like
anxiety of being in the producer's booth.
Oh my God! Like show. I was so stressed. I was secondhand stressed watching the producer.
Secondhand stress.
No, the producer happened to make the decision. They're like, like if somebody walked into my control room and said, "We're about to have," since the conception of TV news, there has not been a bigger moment than nuclear fallout.
We are going to break this news. There is going to be no special report. We are going to break it.
And you're sitting here like, hey, mentally, you've been following the news. You've been seeing the headlines. You've been on edge for days, weeks on end in the news, in the characters universe. And then all of a sudden somebody says, we're about to break in. What do you mean we're about to break in? What could be bigger? So to answer your question, Spence, I geeked. I loved it, and I was like, yes, this is it. This is the adrenaline, and it was real. That was the part that I really loved about it, is that it felt like all of the reactions from the actors in the room. Even if you just go back and watch the scenes again and just look at the people in the background, you're like, yeah, this is real.
I think
Spencer, you said it yourself that some of the news crew and there were actually real life anchors and reporters.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, the girl who was anchoring, doing the actual report after Emily Blunt tossed to her. She was actually a former NBC reporter, I found out. She transitioned into acting, and a lot of the news reporters who you saw on the multi-screens, they're actual news anchors and reporters from like big national stations across the country.
I saw a couple that I recognized when they started to cut into each program in each state, and it was just like, and then to see the light, all those TVs like light up, I was like, yeah, this is how it will go down in real time, because it's literally a moment's notice. Like, something crazy is happening in this part of the country and we need to tune in. We don't know all the details. We know A, B, C, and you got to go. Like, when the anchor's on camera doing the, the honest anchor, I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
Can we talk about how beautiful John Williams' music score was in that final scene, where it really brought in the intensity and the motions of that moment where humanity is revealed that aliens do exist and we have had contact with them throughout the years? Mm-hmm. It's the track Listen. It's the first track on the soundtrack. I've listened to it for about 500 times already.
Yeah, I just... Anytime you can watch a movie and it really makes you feel something, and it's bigger than just I feel bad for a character or I'm mad at this character. When you just feel something and it's like it escapes you, the words do, I feel like I witnessed something special. And walking out of the theater talking about it with you guys, the feelings are coming back, and I'm sitting there like, yes, this movie. Okay, Ben, I see your point. Best movie of the year. That's not my take. That's not my take.
I gave it an A+. It was the first ever A+ I have ever given here.
Yeah, that's not my take, but I love that movie a lot.
Well, I want to ask one more final question to you, Miles, because Spencer and I, again, talked about this last week. Steven Spielberg is a tremendous filmmaker. I hope he doesn't go anywhere anytime soon. I mean, this is the man that has brought us Duel, Jaws. He invented the summer blockbuster with Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Disclosure Day, E.T., Poltergeist, the first 4 Indiana Jones movies. He's an amazing filmmaker. Which is your favorite? What is your favorite Steven Spielberg movie? I went with Saving Private Ryan. Spencer, what did you go with?
It was between, I think, Jurassic Park and... I don't think I had... And I just named my top 3, I think.
Okay. Jurassic Park, though, that's a really good one.
I remember studying Jaws in school, and I remember seeing it just like as a kid, like in passing, like at grandparents' house or whatever, and then actually studying it at school and being like, there are really levels to this, from how it's shot to the fact that it's about a shark. The movie's about a shark, but yet you feel things. And so I'm always more impressed with movies that make you feel, even if the plot is adolescent, you know what I mean? I like that. So I think Jaws was the first movie I'm like, okay, this guy's in his Duffy. I brought up Super 8 because I do remember, in middle school, I made a spoof off of the Super 8 movie because of that same feeling, creating emotions, tapping into those. So, yeah, I guess if you off the top, I would have to lean Jaws.
Okay, all right.
Just me.
Happy 51, by the way.
I know, right? That's solely for nostalgia's sake. But I think if we had to make a Mount Rushmore or a top 3, Disclosure Day would probably be close second.
Which, Spencer, side note, you mentioned Jurassic Park. The guy who wrote Jurassic Park, David Cope, also wrote Disclosure Day.
Well, that explains that, why I really like Disclosure Day then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clears, man.
Alrighty, well, I think we are going to bring this podcast to a close. Guys, thank you so much for coming on again. It is always a blast and a laugh whenever you guys come on air. Yes, look at that. Play to the crowd, everybody. Thumbs up all around, everybody. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on again.
No problem, man. Anytime.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Slack on Flicks. Remember, you can read my full reviews by going to WNDU.com and clicking on the entertainment tab. It's there where you'll find previous episodes of this show, as well as the 16 News Now YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend, everybody. Take care, and happy America 250. I'll see you all next time.